Hey Scorpio, it's Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading. It's very exciting. I'm doing this reading on a Scorpio new moon, and nothing feels more new moony than Scorpio, so it just seems so appropriate. Everything feels appropriate and in its place right now. All right, so overall for the reading, we have Ace of Cups, a new emotional beginning. New feelings, a new relationship. Usually this is a bit of a new relationship. Renewal, emotional renewal. There's newness, there's happiness, there's joy, there's a cup being filled for you, I want to say, not you scrambling around squeezing stones for water to pour into your cup, for trying to squeeze blood from stones, or you're not filling your cup that way. It's being poured into. So that's always nice when it's a little bit easier to receive. But that's what we're talking about. We're talking about receiving. We could be talking about like working with your own vessel, your heart, to be able to receive. Because I don't know that I've talked about this for a while on here. It's a lot of love can be pouring into you, but if your heart is only the size of a thimble, that's how much love you'll get. And you might be like, well, this is wrong. I want more love than this. But that's all. That this is your work. This is your work, is to expand your cup to become barrel size, if not even lake size, possibly even ocean size, so that if there is love pouring in, that you have the capacity to receive it, and it's not you that's unable to receive that amount of love. Because there can be a lot of people loving you, but if you're only able to receive a little bit, or only paying attention to a little bit, then so that's what the overall for the reading. So over on Vimeo, I'm going to be doing relationship specific tarot readings over there. I'll probably use a different deck, I think, not because I don't like this deck, that'll just be the way it is, I think. So if you want to join me over there, you're welcome to. I charge a small fee just for the energy exchange. So all right, here we have past, present, inner landscape, what's at issue, environment, to-do list, possible outcome. Again, these are general readings. Take what works, leave what doesn't. Oh, fascinating. This might be about expanding your capacity. There's a lot of tough energies here. I'm not going to lie. This is... There's some good stuff in your environment, but are you able to receive it? All right. In the past, we have 5 of Pentacles. And what's so interesting is I looked at this and I thought, oh, it's 2 of Cups, right? No, it's 5 of Pentacles. But in the 5 of Pentacles, there's always 2 together that are, not always, but that are excluded. There are 2 that are outside together. So what they have is each other. What they don't have is a bunch of money or a bunch of resources, or they're focused on their lack of resources. This does seem to have like it's us against the world, and there are like these swans here, very like, yeah, it's us against the world. Is that particularly necessary? No. But what I really love about this depiction of 5 of Pentacles is that you're out here with love. At least there's that. If there's nothing else, we've got at least some love here. But there could be a sense of being out in the cold, being excluded, being poor, but you have support. Are you acknowledging the support? Are you seeing the support? Are you seeing what you have? Because this tends to be like, what I see here is a couple that's rich in mutual support, that has an intimacy, right? They're out in the cold, but they're warm together. But the focus is on all that they don't have. So it's a lack mentality. And that's interesting because I was talking about this Ace of Cups, and I hadn't talked about it for, I think, years on this channel, as far as like opening up our receptacle, our vessel to receive love. So there's been a focus on what you don't have, on scarcity, on what's not there. Yeah. Current energy is 5 of Swords, but it does look like you got some swords. You got a lot of swords. So something could be about communication, a conversation. Swords are fast moving energy. So this could be a fast moving event that comes through. your life, like a little bolt of lightning or a couple bolts of lightning, you know, a storm that comes through. It could be an argument, communication issues. There are difficult energies here. So it could be a difficult conversation possibly. And then the foundation for it seems to be like the backstory to this conversation. It seems to be a little bit of like unlack mentality. Things not working out for me. Things never work out for me. Things, those sort of thoughts and ideas might be forming the basis for an argument to come to the surface or something like that, of like all that you don't have. Well, sometimes we do have to address all that we don't have. I think Libra just had that reading where they need to address all that they don't have. That's interesting because the Five of Pentacles was the Libra's to-do list. So, but this is where you're coming from. This is where your move, the energy that's sort of setting you up for, I think, some of these more difficult energies. Not that if we're always in a positive mind frame and looking at abundance that we'd never have difficulties, but this is part of this story here. So we have this Five of Swords, having to make difficult decisions, having to make difficult decisions on your own. It looks like whereas before we had this difficult situation that a couple or some friends or someone with their support person were able to get through together, this is now having to make some difficult decisions on your own. And typically these difficult choices are, typically the advice of this card is to choose yourself at all costs. So to choose standing up for yourself. You might lose some friends. You might lose this one friend that's been with you through some pretty tough times. But at some point you have to decide for yourself, choose non-codependency, choose independency in a way, choose to, it's about difficult choices. And this one seems to be a little bit, there's going to be losses incurred here. So you have you're between a rock and a hard place right now. And you went from a hard place with at least some warmth, and now it's a pretty cold place. You might be asked to take life might be requiring you to be a little bit cold, to take some difficult actions that others may perceive as brutal or against them. But the truth is you need to look out for yourself in a situation. So, and sometimes, it's just hard choices is basically what it is. I don't know. I feel like a lot of times that card comes in and I feel like, yeah, it's the look out for yourself card. Do what's right for you. Don't try to please anybody else, because you cannot please anybody else in this situation. You must do what's right for you. And there might be just a razor's edge between what you want to do. So difficult choices. And I love this card. I hate this card, right? Because I don't like making difficult choices. I'm a Libra. But I also love this card too, because it reminds us all that there are some tough choices here. This is not a win-win situation. You can think about this 24 hours a day for the next 20 years of your life, and you're not going to come up with a better solution. You can ruminate all you want on it. There's not a perfect solution where everybody gets what they want. So in these cases where it's not everybody gets what they want, there's a sense of you needing to act independently, because there's not an option for you to people please and please yourself. That option is off the table. Sometimes we can find that option where I'm happy, you're happy, compromise. No compromises available here. Do not try to find the compromise in the situation, because it's a waste of your time. There are some situations that are like that. It's not, we always want to go for the win-win, and sometimes there's just a lose-lose and you got to make tough choices. So I like that card because it affirms that it is a tough choice and that you're not in an easy situation. What you're hoping for, your hopes, your fears, your inner landscape, is this Emperor, to control the situation, to be in charge of the situation, perhaps to be the boss. You might be worried about a boss figure, worried about someone who is in charge and is in control. The Emperor to me always talks about who has a right to be in control of the situation. Is someone else in control of the situation? This Five of Swords is sort of you need to kind of, be in your own corner. Do not be in the Emperor's corner if the Emperor is not you. You have to be in your own corner, because it doesn't look like you've got other people in your corner or willing to sacrifice for you. So you're going to have to make sure you're not the one sacrificing what you want for people that wouldn't sacrifice for you. So this Emperor is about maybe you want control, you want to have the say here, which makes sense. And sometimes we are the best person to have the say. Sometimes someone else is the better person to have the say. But if our heart's in the right place, sometimes it's nice when fair people have a say and have power, because so oftentimes it's sort of grubby little, hold on. Okay, well, I just noticed my mic is not working. It's all new equipment. It's not all new. I've got a new mic and it's a little confusing for me. I think it's the design. I don't think it's me anymore. I mean, it's a little bit me, but it's a design that doesn't work with me. So anyway, we have the Emperor here. So this is in your hopes, your fears, your inner landscape as far as control. And who has control over the situation, being hopeful, being worried about control over the situation. What's at issue here is Page of Wands in reverse. So the pages in reverse are often immature energy and unwillingness to learn. Wands can be sexuality. They can be creativity. They can be, inspiration. So we could be talking about depression here. Some kind of depression and not a willingness to learn, or not feeling inspired, not excited about the new thing, not excited about learning anything new. Someone here may not be interested in any way in learning anything new, like they're not curious. This Page of Wands is in no way curious about things. They're not fascinated with life. They're not, right? That's an inside job. It's not that life isn't fascinating. Life is infinitely fascinating. So this Page of Wands, there might not be a new project here. You might not be feeling anything exciting going on. It's just there's a sense of blah, some sort of blah thing. It's just not fascinating or interesting. And sometimes it's the thing that's not fascinating or interesting, but then find something else, right? There's other things that are fascinating and interesting. So there's no joy here. There's no delight. Maybe there's a lack of spirituality. Perhaps you've been hanging out with someone and that they just don't have an interest in spiritual growth or something like that, and so now you're feeling like a little bit solo on that adventure, and it's brought up maybe some issues in the relationship. But yeah, someone's no curiosity about spiritual things, or they're uninspired. There's no new project. There's just generally a lack of curiosity, and this could be a lack of joy and a lack of, a depression, basically. But we start off with lack energy. So what are you lacking? This Page of Swords, an inspired new beginning. But here we have the Ace of Cups, which is an inspired new beginning flowing into you. So is it possible that this lack mentality, or focusing on what you don't have, or feeling that the world is a cold, dark place? Yeah. And it's not fascinating. This kind of looks like a little bit of depression here. Or a lot, depending. Maybe it's maybe it's about feeling sad. Maybe it's not necessarily depression, but sadness. So we have 9 of Cups, though. 9 of Cups in your environment. This is someone, there's a lot of joy and happiness in your environment. And that's why I think I started talking before I even pulled these cards about the capacity to receive love, how much help, how much assistance, right? This is us against the world. And the world is saying, like, but there's a lot of joy here. There's a lot of happiness here. There's a lot to enjoy out here. So why is it us against the world, against all the joys and pleasures and fascinating things? 9 of Cups is like ultimate happiness, wish fulfillment, very happy, glad energy, companionship. Well, maybe it's just your cat, but still. And like some sort of foundation of joy. It's possible. It's out here. maybe it's taunting you a little bit. It's possible. And maybe you can see people around you are happy, but you're missing something. I'm not going to sit here and say like I know how to fix depression or anything like that. So don't worry, I'm not an expert there. So 9 of Cups, although I would recommend seeing an expert. That's oftentimes what happens too, is when I know someone's really depressed is when they tell me, well, it's pointless to go see a therapist because I already know what they're going to say. Then I'm sort of like, what? How could you possibly think that you know what a therapist is going to say? A therapist, someone who's been to school for 6 years at least, and studied this for 6 years at least, has continuing education, is studying, sees, like 30 to 40 patients a week, sees all manner of people. How could you possibly imagine that you know what that person is going to say to you? You don't. And so when I have had friends that seem like they might be experiencing depression, when they say that, then I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, now we know for sure that you're experiencing depression, because that is such a cutting off of the infinite possibilities of how to experience joy and where to experience joy. It's such a, the certainty there is really astounds me and very illogical, but it seems very logical to them. So it just seems like this is the most illogical thing you could say about going to meet someone else, that you know exactly what someone you've never met is going to say to you. Like, that's not logical at all, but it masquerades as logical. So anyway, there's a lot of capacity for joy around you. It's not that the world is cold and boring. It's some kind of perspective that's being had of this world. And maybe this is someone you know and not necessarily yourself. But there is a sense of, we're coming from a place, a foundation of like feeling out in the cold, us against the world. And the world's out here, your externals are like, there is a lot of capacity. We have 9 cups capacity here. Like, and you don't even have, you're not having one. You don't see one. We have the ace here. And with this is the 10. There's a lot of capacity for joy here. You are not in it though, or whoever I'm reading for here is not in this place, but this place exists. This place is possible. I think one of my favorite phrases is I'm open to infinite possibilities. And so I think that's coming up here as far as like infinite possibilities for joy, infinite possibilities for successes, infinite possibilities. There are infinite possibilities. Are you seeing them? Not necessarily. You might be in a little bit of between a rock and a hard place here. Your to-do list though is 10 of Swords. So I see this as a receptive mode, receiving the last wounds. The dawn is coming. This is the darkest before the dawn. There's pain has been received, but the painful time and the painful place you've been in is ending. It's coming to a close. All you have to do is allow it. It's over. There's a certain acceptance, I think, here with this card of like accepting that this has been a very painful period of your life, or a very painful conversation, or a very painful decision that you didn't like making, and accepting, where you end up at the end of it. Whatever decision you end up making out of these difficult choices, accepting it completely and not resisting it, not pretending it never happened, not pretending that you loved the choice that you ended up at, that it was the perfect choice, but knowing that this time is going to end, and you will be happy again. You will not always feel this way. You have the capacity to be happy again. You have the capacity to heal from this. But 10 of Swords is sort of like a realizing it's over. That a painful period or a painful chapter or even a painful paragraph is done. And allowing it to be done, and maybe like fully experiencing the emotions with that completion as well, because that can be hard too. We often want to be like, no, I'm fine, and bounce back, bounce back. No, I'm fine. Oh, okay. Wow, you don't like me. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. It's totally fine. And then, for years there's a hidden pain. So we want to experience that pain uh, as soon as possible. Maybe not in front of the person who's causing it, but as soon as possible, allowing it to flow through you so that you can heal, so that we can finally heal this. So and then we have Queen of Swords. So I told you there were a lot of swords here. 5 of Swords, 10 of Swords, Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords is about her truth. And because it's swords, it's communication. So, and it's a queen, so it's self-focused. It's internally focused. So this is like knowing your own mind and knowing your truth. This could also be external to you. This could be someone that you may interact with who's going to be very blunt and to the point. They're not sitting there they're not rude necessarily. They may be not trying to be rude. I don't know them, but they're not trying to be rude. They're just trying to be clear. And they don't want a bunch of soft clouds fogging up the clarity that they need to bring. So this could be you or this could be somebody else. But Queen is your knowing and speaking your truth. This is your truth. You own it. You have a right to your truth, and it's not your truth. It's not like everybody else has truth TM and you have knockoff truth, or you have truth TM and everybody else has knockoff truth. It's an understanding that, yeah, there's big truth, and then there's my truth, which you're trying to tell the truth, right? You're trying to be as honest and authentic as possible, correct? So then that truth is truth. It's not my truth, and then you have the truth and I have my truth, or I have the truth and you have a truth, or your truth, which is different than truth. Like that's not what I'm talking about. Your personal truth. If you've done your work and you've found your clarity. So finding your clarity and speaking your clarity. So let's do a sorry about all the sound issues. I don't know if you've heard all the sounds and not sounds going on here today. It's kind of wild, but all right. Some chiromancy synchronicity cards to kind of remind us we're right where we need to be. Okay, they're not going to even let me deny this. This is so wild. I don't even have Scorpio in my chart, and this is like the same from a different deck that I have experienced today. So, Dragonfly Spirit, change. So, and this may be about the decision to change. So dragonflies, waterfalls, lily pads, lotus. Dragonflies also represent like spiritual messages. So dragonfly spirit and change. Oh, there's some fairies back here too. Stag spirit, leadership. So initiation and taking initiative. Providing vision out of experience. But also if you see a stag, that's you. So Wizard of the Woods. And leadership, I think leadership comes in with this Queen of Swords, right? She's inadvertently, through her authenticity and her commitment to her truth and how she perceives something, that inadvertently causes leadership. Like all of our kings are like known leaders, obvious leaders. But the Queen of Swords, the queens, due to their own authenticity, are the accidental leaders, right? Not the ones with the title, but the ones with the devoted follow. And then we also have Emperor here, which is again talking about leadership. Maybe you want a leadership position. Maybe if this is a work reading or something, maybe you've been like denied, leadership position in the past, and now you kind of have to be a little cutthroat if that's what you want. And then we have Wizard of the Woods here. So, and focus, maintaining a focus on what you want. These swords definitely have a sense of focus to them as well. Like, right, they have a focus point. There's a point. And this Queen of Swords is definitely getting her point across. So Wizard of the Woods. Yeah, the focus. And if you see a wizard in the woods, which I have, when I go hiking, I see old men, and they're always very helpful in helping me find my way, or telling me where a cool thing is. So make sure you're not dismissing the wisdom of some of our elderly men. Are actually quite wise. Some of them are just assholes, but some of them are quite wise. So paying attention to maybe some old men in your life. The ones that have spent their lives growing, not the ones that have spent their lives being jerks. So, all right, hope that was helpful. Oh, wait, a prayer. Stealthy shark. Yeah, I see that a little with this Five of Swords. Comprehension, progress, improvement. Powerful predator, hunting with ease. Show me the way to trust my instincts. Trusting your instincts. So, especially when it comes to this Five of Swords place, between a rock and a hard place where you're at. So, all right, hope that was helpful. Join me over on Vimeo. If not, I'll catch you later.